correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina.
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Lenny is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were—
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that
Oh, is that so? And if—
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built—
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that—
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached—
Huh?
Hey! Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales! Could those—
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth? No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatsui's doing.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us if your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and— good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the—
Hey, Linny! Why didn't you tell us this—
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the facts. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true? Please answer my question.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your—
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys.
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You sir— In that case, my dear audience, let's allow—
Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Paimon doesn't know where to start. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that not to set the wrong tone or anything, but
I'm very sorry. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the words, but our organization is very, very large, and
Right now, we want to save people.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster but still, I'm asking you to trust me.
Sorry. Please.
well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear you.
Of course. I'll answer any questions. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentence? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to...
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room, which should have been impossible, of course, that voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to... On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground. But the countdown... After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all...
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mist, but like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust...
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales of... If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations... Huh?
Both parties have returned to their positions. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue...
That took long enough. Now that at this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linny's perspective. Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that the sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house. Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise. And so Linny proceeded to knock him out too before... Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the device... And And there you have it.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events. Seems this won't. See. S- S- See. Lenny did not take part in the underground altercation. He. See. According to Lenny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Lenny went to the room that contains the aura tree.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to... When the countdown started, Lenny did indeed go into... But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House space. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been... And the crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And finally, he reached the surface. And that was when the accident happened from his point of... Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that! Oh, wasn't it awesome?
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing.
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Carol hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case.
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's... Oh, well, your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. But what... Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box... You're saying that he wasn't?
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the bit. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi.
Well, to think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience. Could there have been a third person involved? The deceased's name is Cowell. Linny's...
That can't...
Oh, is that...
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator... No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. So where would the criminal... The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some fear that she would attract attention. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the... Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been some The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances, so where would the criminal have wanted to take Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which... It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. Linny was not in the tunnel at the... Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have...
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble
I see how it is. So this was...
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only had... It's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. The vase was not broken by chance. It was used to
Paimon gets it! It all comes together! Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leaving only clothes behind. If there's a similar...
How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick. Most magic tricks are ultimately just...
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may... Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, guards, please step into the lab.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage, each labeled separately. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are
The primordial seed.
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an... The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that, as such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact...
You've got to be kidding! People dissolving...
Could something so ridiculous actually...
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partner?
Let's go. Just trust...
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the item. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the...
Of course. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal heart! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that...
The rope that held the water tank up was lit by the fireworks. The deceased's name is Cowl. Lit. Now it seems like the hook rope was not. The water from the primordial sea The deceased's name is Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. Did she have something to do with it? I remember there was something else within the water from the primordial sea should already have been prepped, but the rope that held the water tank up was lit. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another. Now it seems like the hook rope. I remember there was something else within the inner layer of that box. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. I remember there was some.
It's Ace Detective Paimon! In the original plan, Cowl would tamper with the water tank rope, and the number selector securing his target. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial sea. Afterward, Cowl would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel, and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use.
Huh.
That actually links together a lot of the more confusing pieces of evidence.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention remaining is his notes mentioned he had an accomplice who could be related to the city.
On that note, the guards have just contacted me. I shall now invite him on stage to share.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other and we found an identical sample of the water from the
What?
That can't be.
Does this not clear up, my dear citizen? Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent. Having made modifications to the props beforehand, his accomplice Cowl then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordials. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and ultimately, he knocked Cowl out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward... Am I right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no... Is this the end of...
Oh no! Seems using the water as new evidence was too good.
I think we've all seen enough now. And I believe this is indeed the... Now then, my good, noble chief...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must...
Miss, I must ask you not to shout.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from... I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh. Right, but what in the...
No offense, miss, but miracles like that are beyond my...
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection, isn't it? It often conceals the truth, but once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to them once again? And wouldn't such a trick be the most marvelous finale to today's performance? Come on, Lenny and Lynette, give it another go. But as the magic makers and stars of the show, I think I should leave the final
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey? So, the whole thing about people dissolving...
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, then I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings, but I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me.
That'll teach you to underestimate.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry.
What?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so that's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So Liddy even mentioned that you were pretty...
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. I thought he... So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone... I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Really, had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire story from... Lillian was afraid that she would be recognized if she left, so she changed clothes. The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lily. The flower vase.
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had water poured on her head. So hearing the commotion, Cowell leapt into the tunnel, only to discover he did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, but was a thief who made her way, mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial. The two broke the flower vase during the struggle, but Lillian came out on top, knocking Cowell out and putting him in the box. With no way of escaping, she changed her clothes and hid in the costume trunk until the performance ended. She knew that she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward. So, she has been trapped in the Opera House these last 2 days!
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under—
At this point, all the events that happened in the
so bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina. Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As
What? Are you reading my mind now? No. I have no further arguments.
Wow! Look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall— The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop, and he poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud— Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian, thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude— While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the— As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Victory for Ace Detective Paimon!
Great work, partners.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vault. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or...
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you, yes? I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a...
I was just we were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, therefore you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek...
Yes, our boss discovered that the water can cause it can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause... We've been in this business for a while now, and have made decent more off it. The
And now he can no longer...
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me, but still. Let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoke. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth aligned. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth?
That's right. And since we're here, I was back when our parents first died. Lynette, to survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and to my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that...
So you went from orphans to nobility, just like...
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on our side and we could... But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner...
That doesn't seem too bad either.
It took a while for me to realize. Just after one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift.
Oh no. But wouldn't Fontaine...
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care. And they have their... I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person. All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood.
So, she'd already taken...
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm. Father, I mean, the Knave, might have seen something in me. The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. I was hesitant to trust her, but she was also...
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has gained permission from the Tsaritsa to first use the Gnosis's power when she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save Fontaine.
So, she believes...
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently... Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water. All of us house members here, Lady Arlecchino herself included, are from Fontaine. We won't give up on to us orphans. The only connection we have left to this world.
So, from small deeds like distributing magic pockets to huge schemes like
It's alright. I just hope you can understand that even if you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me. I will do my best to help.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there. What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial... Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case and...
Ah, I see. Well, sorry. I might have been too...
Don't say that, Navia.
Aw, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope. Sorry about that. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know...
Huh? Do we really need...
Well, I'd just like to have a proper... Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of your time.
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm if...
Oh, wonderful.
All right, then.
Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth.
Time to go.
I came here several times with my father when I was little. But
Oh, don't worry.
in that case, I'll go.
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like.
And if it's not...
Well,
Yeah. Oh, we called this a farewell...
Oh, true. Very...
Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances will...
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but I feel that...
If it hadn't happened right in front of us, Paimon wouldn't have ever believed that a person could be...
Right? Yet it was because this was such a
If only that guy could have finished speaking!
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like a yawning To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities might conduct. It's not that I don't have faith in their ability. It's easy to... Which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exists. Those highfalutin... It's all... Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't...
I see. So, I've heard that there's a long line of people...
Yeah.
Well... Would you consider...
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you. Chock-full...
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House. I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending.
Could you suggest something a little more practical?
All right. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy...
That might work, but that...
Valid point. I overlooked that part. All right, no more joking. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Why don't we give it a try after the...
No, it's fine.
Alright.
Is that so? If we're all finished eating, then I'll go pay.
Yeah. Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Can't you see Paimon's barely an inch off the ground?
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left with...
Hey, Navia! What are you doing over there?
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover. So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your requests the highest priority. In any case, I would...
See ya! many people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler?
Vache?
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? There might be some... Huh? Hang on. Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you my dear Vache? No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know Vache? Wait, my memories feel like they have been washed away like a flood. How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was once. But now, I do not know how I came to be like this either. I only vaguely remember being covered in light blue water. I also remember going to many places. No matter where I went, Vache would go with. But now, we can no longer go back. No! Our reunion, the thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the waters. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing. Perhaps that is so. As I was submerged in the waters, losing consciousness. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Is that what you call it? It was a state of neither fear nor frenzy. With only... I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for... I think I hear your farewell then.
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Clorand?
Quick, now's our chance!
I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Clorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, Demoiselle. I was not strong enough.
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that I'd be in grave danger?
I doubt I know much more than you. But I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
Huh. I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal—
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful.
I will continue investigating, no matter what. We will bring the truth to light. Regardless, thank you for your help today, Clarand. But
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following.
right. I suppose that's the best news we've gotten today.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clarand was being sincere with...
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done. Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved them. Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clarand who came out to save us too. We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had. As such, we're still partners. There's no need to thank me.
It will take 50 years for me to
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di...
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger? You sure did show up.
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really? Paimon contributed?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did...
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky? Fanta only comes in sweet flavors. So how could it have tasted salty?
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the prime...
Yes. So if you hadn't...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as...
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. But whoever did this left no trace at all. That's when I figured out that you might be in danger.
What?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of. Speaking of which...
Well, it can't... Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too! But it was real faint. Does this situation have to do with the primordial seawater then? Does that mean the primordial seawater raises someone's sensitivity to hot...
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing.
New intel? What?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, he was at least at the crime, but he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the primordial seawater. Could he have been... Yes, thank you. This is very important information indeed. We will continue... Oh, you mean...
Well, you did say that our farewell meal... And besides, we're in this...
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are...
You talk too much. Well, we also have some plans...
Don't worry, you two.
Time to go. Never again.
Whoop. Ha! I'm here.
Follow the wind.
Shadows of fate. I'm a rock.
Take flight!
So this is a day in the... A blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.
Seems like the stories here never have a happy ending. Seems like the stories here never
A blade is like a tea leaf. Only those who sample it many times can appreciate its true qualities.
Seems like the stories here never have a happy ending.
I only wish life could be as leisurely as this a little more often. How greedy of me.
Seems
sight to see.
Time to go. Time to go. Welcome to the court, Fontaine. Please, watch your step.
Welcome to the Clementine Line Aquabus. This boat tour will take you to the magnificent court of Fontaine, the most important city in our nation. Speaking of Fontaine, you may have heard of the unique trials held in our courts, and presume this nation to be a very serious and solemn place. In reality, Fontaine is also a center of culinary and art.
Who's our target this time?
Artistic delights, full of fine architecture, music, paintings, and delicacies, each of which are well worth experiencing for yourself. Why is architecture first in this list, you might ask? For good reason. Because for any new passengers, you'll get your very first look at the splendor of the Court of Fontaine towards the end of this tour. So keep your eyes peeled and prepare to gasp with amazement when the moment comes.
Time to go.
Get with me! Gotcha!
Commit to memory.
Busted!
Into the wind. Time to go.